Hello loves. So I am putting up a video today to show you guys how to make a Juju hat wall decor. They are so expensive to buy and so cheap to make. Maybe a little bit more expensive than some of the DIYs, but completely worth it. So what you're going to start out with, or what I chose to start out with, is a jute mat. And this is just what you would find to go underneath your plates on the dinner table. You can also just cut out a circle of cardboard, but I just like this. It's nice and sturdy. I know that the feathers are going to glue down really well to it. I do want to give it a little bit of extra support. And again, this is a step that you don't have to do. I chose to do. You could also take this jute mat and put some cardboard and glue that on the back. What I did was take a hanger and take it apart and bend it into a circle. I've already done this over here. So it's going to look like this. So I just twisted it into a circle to go on the back of the mat, and I have begun to hot glue it down. What that's simply going to do is then when it's hanging, it's not going to flop forward at all. It's not going to lean. That wire is going to keep it in place. So to hot glue it is really simple. All you're going to do is lift up the wire and put a nice line of glue down, and then push the wire right down onto it. If you've used the hot glue before, and I'm sure you have if you're watching a DIY something, it sets pretty quickly. What I do is I pass over it again over the top, just to make sure that that wire doesn't scratch up the wall at all, and also so I have a nice even level all the way around. So you're going to follow that all the way until you have this glued down, and then we will move on to the next step, which is going to be working with these feathers. So, no, you're not going to go ahead and buy thousands of single feathers and glue them down one at a time. Feathers are sold in strands, and they look like this. So it's literally, they are sewn into ribbon. With this, you buy them in strands. Typically, when you're dealing with the larger feathers, they're about 3 yards, 2 to 3 yards. What I'm working with for this size mat is I am using 3 strands of 3 yards, and then in addition to it, I'm using a 2-yard strand of shorter feathers. Now these are goose feathers, and these are rooster feathers. So there's the difference you can see in the size, and also these just have more of that very sleek, pretty feather look to it, and these have that real flowy, fluffy look. So these are going to eventually end up in the center. Now, I'm going to finish gluing this down, and then we're going to flip it over and get going on those feathers. Now I have that hanger glued completely down, and almost forgot the hook that you're going to hang it from. So real simple. You could sew it down to the mat, or just like I did here, you can hot glue that down too. And I am using extra strength hot glue, so it will really stick good. So now that everything is set, we can turn it over and we can get to work on those feathers on the other side. Now, because they come in these strands, you are going to have to make cuts. You do not want to just keep going and going. Reason being, the feathers bend a certain direction. So all of the feathers are sewn in with the same curve, so they all bend the same way. Now, to get that dimension to your Juju hat, you need to alternate the feathers. So you're going to want one set curving up and one set curving down. So that's going to start to give you, as you can see there, more of that fluff. So I already went ahead and pre-cut a few just to get you going. Now for that base layer, You can really do what you want. I prefer to make that a layer that is curling up. That way it is right off the bat pulling away from the wall instead of squeezing too tightly into the wall and those feathers possibly even getting pushed against the wall and then bent flat and losing that curve. Now, this could not be easier. What you're going to do is once you measure around so you know where to cut, you're simply going to start gluing. What I'm going to do, another reason, let me quick jump back, another reason that I really like these jute mats as opposed to just a piece of cardboard is that it really does, it kind of gives you a guide. So you can use each of these layers as a guide to make sure that you're keeping all your feathers in alignment. So either way you want, they both work. What I'm going to do is put down new glue stick, put down a nice stream of glue. I really need to get a new hot glue gun. As much as I use this thing, I have like the cheapest, squeakiest little glue gun ever. And then just like that, you're going to go ahead and press it down. And we'll keep this going all the way around. And let me tell you, these feathers, a lot of people think like, oh, I don't even know where I would go about finding feathers like that, or my local craft store doesn't sell them like that. I found these on Amazon, and I don't want to misquote, but I believe that these were like $11 a strand, between $8 to $11 a strand. So not bad compared to an end price of paying hundreds. You know, I've seen a lot of these starting at around $150 and climbing from there. So definitely to be able to make one under $50 is a great deal. Now, I'm not going to make you watch me in slow motion put down each of these layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap the camera position here so that you can get a nice aerial down on what I'm doing. And hopefully I can figure it out and we can make that a nice little fast forward segment. But again, remember, you're doing one layer up, and then the next layer that you come in with will go down. And then the next layer up and the next layer down and so on. So let me flip this camera around and we'll keep going. Gorgeous. So easy to make. I mean, this thing, it's just beautiful. So beautiful. And just so you can understand what I was doing there at the end. So once you get to the center and you're working with the rooster feathers and you get right into the middle there, the rooster feathers just all kind of bend all over the place. So like the first layer that I put down, I'll do it down, then up, and then the rest of it, I pretty much just keep like right as you get tight into the center, I just keep threading it around. And I'll even right as I get immediately into that middle center, I'll just kind of take it and I'll just bend it and fold it right on top of each other just to make a whole little smooshy poof of feathers and then glue that right into the middle. But isn't this just stunning? And if you want, you can get more feathers and you can glue them even tighter together so that from the side you have something that puffs up even more. Where we're putting it, I wanted it to have all of this here in the middle, but I didn't want the rest of it to come out too much. So I didn't do quite as many in my layers, but you can definitely layer those up even tighter and get something with even more dimension. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And now if this is something that you have had your heart set on and you've been looking at in stores and thinking how much you want one hanging on one of your walls, well, now you can do it. And instead of spending hundreds, you can spend under $50. So have a great rest of your week, guys, and thanks for watching.